Shadow people could be so many things. No one really knows exactly, all we can do is speculate. There are different theories as to what they might be. Most people who described experiencing a shadow being almost always describe it as seeing them through the corner of their eyes. And as they turn to get a better look at it, it's gone. Or they see it go by quickly through hallways as they walk by it. With that said, check out these 5 shadow people caught on camera and spotted in real life. Before we begin, make sure you hit that subscribe button to get notified every day for more amazing content. With that being said, let's begin. Number 5. Shadow Person Number 1. This is some very creepy footage uploaded to a channel on YouTube called Faceless Nights. In it, we see a gamer setting up his Xbox Kinect while testing a live stream. He browses a few options, changes a few vision modes, but when he changes to night vision mode, he captures something truly terrifying. On the right of the screen, you can clearly see a shadow person lurking in the rear of the room. The figure almost looks like it's wearing a black robe. It has long, slender fingers and a strange floating quality to it. The entity darts off the screen as soon as it notices it's visible on camera. The guy filming looks very startled as he double checks the room for anything resembling the strange black specter. When the video went live, it quickly got spread around social media, racking up nearly 2 million views. Skeptics thought that there were jump cuts edited into the clip, but as Faceless Nights explains in another video, the Kinect changes aspect ratio every time a new vision mode is used, so it looks as though things move on the desk or the person changes position. Faceless Nights doesn't have an explanation for what he captured, but he fervently denies that he tampered with the footage in any way. With this encounter in mind, how creepy is the tagline, "What else does Kinect see?" Of course, the video looks as if it's staged, and it's quite possible that the viewer's just looking for, well, views. But if it's really a shadow person in the video, then it is pretty scary stuff. Number 4. Shadow 2. This is some strange footage that was captured live on The Larry King Show. Live on air, CNN is doing a tour of Michael Jackson's home in Neverland shortly after he passed away. As the camera crew walk around the house, a shadowy figure can be seen passing quickly down the end of the hallway. It looks to be a lurching, transparent presence, as though it's the shadow of someone walking by. The footage has been seen by millions of people, and some say it's the ghost of Michael himself. Skeptics claim it's nothing more than a shadow of one of the film crew or staff that can't be seen on that angle. Others say that it's impossible for a person to cast that quick-moving shadow without being seen. Whatever the case may be, it makes for some very compelling footage, one that has captured the attention of millions of people. But shadow people have been caught in other videos too. In this video, the camera is angled towards the entrance of some sort of warehouse, presumably in the middle of the night. The front warehouse doors are wide open. Next to the doors is a large multi-pane window made out of about 15 glass panes with a white film overlay so that people can't see through the windows. This sets up the perfect lighting and backdrop conditions to be able to spot the shadow person when it starts manifesting itself a few seconds into the video. It looks a lot like a person leaning up against the windows and looking around. However, its shadowy figure makes us think that maybe this CCTV camera has captured true evidence of a shadow person. In another shocking video, a CCTV camera is filming a street when a shadow of a person moved in front of a moving car. The driver didn't see anything, but did hear it hit, but found nothing. Later, the driver checks a security cam in the parking lot area and finds that the shadow was also caught on camera. Also curious is the fact that the person seems to rise up out of the road itself as if they came from an underground base and didn't expect to be seen. Number 3. Waverly Hills Sanatorium. Waverly Hills Sanatorium in Louisville, Kentucky is one of the most notorious asylums in America. Built in 1910, the hospital was used to house patients suffering from tuberculosis during what was considered an outbreak of the White Plague. At the time, there was no known cure for the disease, which was mostly treated with plenty of fresh air and sunshine. However, the Waverly Hills Sanatorium was also tasked with finding more effective measures to fight the infectious disease. Controversial methods were tested, with some patients having their ribs removed and their lungs inflated with makeshift balloons. It's thought that many thousands of patients died at the sanatorium. The death toll grew so high that the facility was forced to build an underground tunnel, affectionately known as the Death Chute, that would be used to ferry hundreds of deceased corpses to a nearby railway station. Some estimate that as many as 64,000 patients died at Waverly Hills over the years. Visitors today often report the echoed calls of children singing down the long abandoned hallways. Cold spots are often experienced, and an ominous feeling of being watched is ever present. This photo was taken by an intrepid explorer who decided to visit the hospital alone. He said that nothing particularly unusual took place while he walked around the facility. However, when he reviewed his photos later that night, he noticed something very strange. In one image, a black entity can be seen obscuring the lens of the camera. It lacks definition and is devoid of any light whatsoever. It looks like it has a head and body that's perhaps moving away from the camera. The man is certain that no one else was around as he was exploring the old hospital alone. Number 2. The Shadow Man. The owner of this home kept telling her kids that she was seeing a strange shadow person out of the corner of her eye. She said she always felt uncomfortable in certain rooms and thought she was being watched by some unseen force. Her kids would often laugh it off, telling her she's going mad. That was until this creepy photo was taken on Thanksgiving Day some years ago. Prior to lunch being served, the daughter was taking photos of her boyfriend sitting at the table. This is what she captured. It shows a very tall, dark entity dominating the doorway. The edges of the figure look smoky and translucent, while the center appears to be devoid of all light. When the mother saw the photograph, she almost cried. She said that's the exact spirit she keeps seeing out of the corner of her eye. What do you think that is? Is this house haunted by some unknown force or shadow spirit that's making itself known to this poor family? However, there is another instance of a shadow man that was the ghost of a woman's ex-husband. This photo was posted to a ghost investigation forum with a chilling story attached. Late one night, a woman was up cleaning her fish tank when she noticed someone standing in the other room. At first, she thought it was her husband and simply dismissed it, saying, "What's the matter, dear? Can't sleep?" When she turned and looked at the person standing in the next room, she went completely cold and nearly fainted. Standing in the room was the clear outline of her ex-husband who had died of cancer several years earlier. Michelle panicked and closed her eyes. When she opened them again, the spirit had gone. In a fit of panic, she ran upstairs and told her husband what had happened, but he assured her it was nothing to worry about. Several weeks later, Michelle's in-laws were visiting, so she decided to take some photos. When she reviewed the photos later that night, she went numb at what she saw. In the photo, behind her mother-in-law, was a shadow figure lurking in the corner of the room. It was exactly like the figure she had just saw weeks earlier. Did Michelle capture the shadow form of her ex-husband? Number 1. The Hat Man. The Hat Man is one of the creepiest and pernicious sightings of the shadow people. A tall, slender male presence is often reported by people all over the world. They say a shadowy figure watches them sleep, and it always has a wide-brimmed hat on. Thousands of individual sightings have been described by people from all walks of life, yet somehow they all characterize the same figure. This photo was captured by a woman who was dozing in her bed in 2017. She was listening to a podcast and felt herself drifting off to sleep. Suddenly, she felt a dark, ominous presence in the room and glanced over to the window. She claims that a tall figure with a hat was standing by her bed, watching intently. She grabbed her phone and took a quick photo, but realized there was no one in the room. When she looked at the photo, she couldn't believe what she saw. Indeed, there was a solid black entity standing in the room wearing what looked like a top hat. There are several scientific explanations for shadow people sightings. People who suffer from sleep paralysis often report being watched by shadow beings. They say dark entities enter their room and watch them sleep. Some neuroscientists suggest that these conditions cause the sufferer to wake in a heightened emotional state, which can cause a mild hallucinogen, in this case, moving shadows. The most striking aspect of this phenomenon is that the reports are all so congruent. They all describe almost the exact same thing: a dark, ominous figure that likes to watch people sleep. The Hat Man is the most troubling of all because it's such an oddly specific thing. How is it that thousands of people all around the world characterize the Hat Man exactly the same? Or how about these two photos? There's not a lot of solid information about these photos. They often appear in ghost investigation forums, but no one seems to know their origins. The two photos, presumably taken one after the other, show a smoky, black entity hovering in the middle of the room. The first photo looks like it has thin, outstretched arms, as though it's about to grab someone. Plumes of a strange, translucent aura seem to waft up towards the roof. The second image looks as though it's caught the moment the shadow is disappearing, almost as though it's been blown by the wind and is vaporizing into nothing. Could these photos be some kind of glitch, or have they captured something far more sinister? Hope you enjoyed the video, Top 5ers. If you haven't already, check out our other channel, The Brilliant, to enjoy even more amazing list videos. There will be a link in the description, so make sure you go check that out as well.